everybody. Welcome to the Blog Lab. Today we are talking with David and Jennifer from IZEA, and we're going to be talking about sponsored content and how to make it awesome and how to make it something both that your readers will love and that brands will really get excited about as well. So we're excited to have David and Jennifer with us today. Hi. Welcome, you guys. Do y'all want to tell us a little bit? Most of the people in our group know what IZEA is and kind of how it works, but there may be some people tuning in that have not ever worked with IZEA. So do you want to kind of give us a little rundown of what y'all do and why you're so awesome?
Sure.
Okay, so I'll take that?
No, actually, you go ahead and do it, Jen. You do the motions.
All right. So IZEA is an online marketplace where advertisers and creators like yourselves get together to do word of mouth marketing campaigns. IZEA is the company that has built this marketplace, and it's named IZEA. I am the Director of Customer Engagement and Support. And David?
I am the Senior Manager of Client Service.
So awesome. Together, David and I, along with a couple of other people, are really full circle on the entire creator experience.
Formally, as of December of last year, I was the Manager of Campaign Fulfillment. So the team that I was managing was basically working with bloggers such as yourselves day in and day out, getting them on campaigns, negotiating rates, making sure everyone's posting on time, reviewing content. Basically taking from when it sells on to work with the creators in our network.
Awesome.
And I had a chance to go out to IZEA just like a month or so ago, and they have this giant team, and it's so much more than you even think about. Like, I guess I just assumed it was like a few people that have got it all together, but it is like this full-blown company. It's awesome. So
We're about 125 people around the U.S., and we operate in the U.S., Canada, Australia, and the UK.
That's awesome. So that actually answers one of the questions somebody had been asking, is if you guys work internationally and if bloggers from Australia, from Europe, all those things, will they find campaigns in the dashboard for them?
Absolutely.
So I think that answers that.
I do want to mention, though, so about 3 to 5 months ago, we've kind of started a very big endeavor into Canada in general. We now have somewhere between 6 and 8 Canadians based in Toronto, both they're selling up there. We have account management up there. We have support up there. And we have an office and everything. So what we've been doing from our creator ecosystem side of things is trying to find more Canadian bloggers. Compared to 2 years ago, the amount of Canadian campaigns that we have has exponentially increased, probably by 300% just in the last few months. So once we really nail down Canada, we'll be starting to explore into Mexico, South America, and more into Australia and Europe again.
But the
focus right now is definitely Canada.
Perfect. I think a lot of our readers will be really excited about that because we keep getting asked, and we're here, so we're like, I don't know how you monetize over there. Like, yeah,
and that's the thing that we don't like is sometimes with open bidding, we don't set parameters the way that they are supposed to, and really, really great Canadian bloggers bid on stuff, but unfortunately we have to decline them because when it comes to the clients themselves, they want to make sure that people in Canada are only blogging about Canadian brands and so forth and so on, and with American brands, so forth and so on. I feel in the next year or so, it'll start being a combination of things, because as Canadian brands move into America, they're going to want to have some sort of American voice behind that brand as well.
Right. Well, that makes sense. Very cool. So another question that we get asked a lot specifically about IZEA. So a lot of us bloggers work with several different companies that will connect us with brands. And one of the unique things about IZEA is that we get to bid on campaigns and say, I'm interested in this one. This is what I'll do it for. And you also have a section there for pitching. How important is that? Do you read those? Do you not? Can we skip it? Should we go ahead and fill that out? What are you looking for in that?
So, and I'll start, and David, you can fill in. Pitches aren't used that often. So when people fill them out, I tend to look at them because it's generally content that I don't usually see. And if you're going to use that pitch section really well, you want to talk about why you are the best creator for this particular campaign. Don't waste any of your space talking about your analytics. That is stuff the platform is already showing the advertiser. Talk about why you're the best creator for that campaign.
So brag on yourself.
And then also, sometimes we'll need a little bit more information that we cannot pull from just your connection and everything that we have alone from there. We'll need to actually say, okay, tell us if you have, how old is your child? How old is your dog? Do you have a puppy? Do you have a cat? Is this a pet? We have a pet product campaign, and we want to have a good mix of cat owners and dog owners. Using the pitch helps us identify you so we can use you for campaigns.
I'm not sure where, there she is, just coming back. I was like, we lost the host.
I'm glad it always replays without y'all or without me.
So yeah, please fill out your pitches. It really helps us identify good creators. The more pitches we see, the better. I think as we continue to, what's the word I'm looking for? As we continue to make the platform better and make it easier for you to bid on things and accept things, pitches will become even more important over the course of this year.
The other thing in relation to the pitches is fully filling out your profile. Because if we're doing searches in the system, it is based on the information that you fill out. So if you don't fill out anything, you don't come back in a search result. So you might be the best creator in the system, but I don't know it because you've not told me you're married if I'm looking for married creators, or I don't know, have pets or dogs or rabbits.
I think a lot of people do that. They get started and they do 50% and then they just stop, and you have to do the full thing if you want to be found and you want to get the best posts.
Another little insider tidbit is that when we set parameters for our open bidding campaigns, right now, if we just put male and female, we're going to get a ginormous drop off of who's available. Because if I select male or female and you don't have male or female selected, you get automatically out of that search result. So just the fact that it's not selected is making you lose out on opportunities to bid on.
And on the other side of the coin, don't put every word in the English language in the tags box.
Oh, please don't do that.
Right. That's what I was going to ask too, because we get that question a lot, Becky and I do. What do I put as tags? Are you looking for hashtags? Are you looking for
the best
saying I'm a food blogger or?
Well, yeah. So the best thing to do is to make your tags really specific. So you can put food, vegan, paleo, whole food, plant-based. You can put whatever that makes it more specific to you.
Okay. And these are just keywords. They're not full-on sentences describing yourself. No. Just
keywords. Yeah, because David might get a campaign that is for rabbit food. So we'll type in rabbit in the search box and go, oh God, please somebody put rabbit there. Please put rabbit there. And it might be about Volkswagens. It might be about animals. We never know.
See, the thing about tags is that helps us find bloggers on a one-by-one basis. So like she was saying, for that very niche campaign, that's when tags come into play. So, and I also would appreciate people, and I know that a lot of you mom bloggers do think that you're very good at tech, but when you select one of your categories as tech, but it's really about cloth diapers, it doesn't help you get on campaigns. So just being very honest with your tags and not over-tagging really helps drill down what we need from you so we can make sure you're the perfect fit for the opportunity.
So in that vein, you need to look at your content holistically and say, these are the 4 topics I talk most about, that, and really center yourself around that, because what advertisers are looking at are super engaged audiences around those topics. So being a generalist here doesn't help you.
Right. And I would say even from the blogging side, of course, Becky and I run an entire site about how to make money blogging, but you're going to lose your readers too. It's not just that you're going to lose the brand and the brands are going to become frustrated. And I would guess that David and Jen are going to stop picking you to do campaigns if you get accepted to something that's not in your niche. But also you're going to kind of lose that trust with your readers. And they're going to be saying, I don't want to read this site anymore. She just blogs about anything that's going to pay her money, instead of really only choosing those campaigns that you can really say, this is something I love, this is something my kids love, or, whatever your topic is, but something that you can really get on board with and say, I have a story around this, not just I'm able to kind of copy paste some content in here to collect a check.
Yes, and that always makes the best and most engaged posts if you have a direct connection or an intense feeling about something.
Well, Paula,
it's so much more polarizing.
What Paula and I do that we feel like makes a really big difference is we'll say an idea comes that they want us to do a sponsor post on something. We'll write a post about, say it's I don't know, on a bed or something. We'll write up our own post, and then we go back in and we'll add in all those things that we need. But if you can write your story first, I feel like you're going to have the best post compared to just putting up a review. Reviews just are not authentic. They're just not. Maybe if it's my favorite drink, I would. I would write about that. But in general, I think if you can really naturally work a sponsored post, it doesn't have to feel sponsored. I don't know, a lot of mine are sponsored because it's a challenge. I like getting sponsored posts. It gives me a topic to write about, and usually I like the product. I mean, I wouldn't write about something I didn't like, but they're usually send you a sample and you're gonna try it, and chances are if you try it, you're gonna like it. So makes it easier. And then your readers like it and they're sharing it.
There's a question in chat, which I think is really good. Better on a Budget is saying, how do you suggest personalizing tweets? It's hard to do with so few characters. So can one of you guys speak to that? What do you look for in the sponsored tweets? Because I know I have trouble with that as well.
That's a really good question. I know that we provide a ton of sample tweets, and the sample, sometimes personally, I'm not a big fan of the sample tweets, just because we find that 90% of the creators are copying and pasting the tweet with little to no creativity. But I also understand that when we have 2 hashtags and 2 mentions and the hashtag ad and the link that goes in there, there's kind of very little room for creativity.
You have 40 characters to express your personality.
I'm I just did 4 more words. There's nothing I can do.
So to be perfectly honest, if we were going to rate a piece of content on a 1 to 5 star rating, if you do a copy and pasting it, it's going to be a 1. If you just try, you just give it a shot and just kind of put your own little bit of personality in and just change it up, but still hit the requirements of the hashtags and the mentions, I'm going to give it 5 stars. I realize it's very difficult to do that, so we know that we kind of just have a 1 or a 5. It's just comes to that. Where you can become more creative is using the Twitter picture opportunities. Where again, I know a lot of people and a lot of clients nowadays are just wanting to put a picture that they provided, which in my opinion is against what we're trying to do with the whole thing.
And we do try to talk them out of that, because it's the whole concept of online sponsorship is its unique voice. So for everyone to use the same picture isn't quite the uniqueness that we like to go after. But sometimes brands are very locked down and they have one image and that's the image and go.
The thing I like to think about is right now they're seeing these photo tweets as an extension of a sidebar ad image or some sort of ad service. What we want to, over the course of time, is change the way that they think about them so that they will be more authentic. And if it's a service about if it's cars, tires, something like that, it's not just a stock image of tire X. Instead, it is you and your family in the car going on a road trip. So
those two are the best.
Yeah, those are absolutely so much better in my opinion.
If I have a sponsored tweet, I do try to add a picture of just not a sponsored looking picture, just one from the post, because they do so much better than just the post in general. I personally, when I'm scrolling through Twitter feeds, which is not that often, I will look at just the pictures. I don't know, and that's where I find recipes sometimes, because I'll go through the feed and someone will post a great recipe picture and I'm like, well, that looks good. So then I click to it and make it. So I think pictures always make things more personal.
For sure.
Agreed.
We're getting a few more questions in. A couple people are saying, I used to get direct offers from IZEA, but those have kind of tapered off. Is it just bidding now, or are direct offers still around?
So the way direct offers have worked, I do think that we do more manual reach out currently than we do open bidding. The reason behind that is that lately we've had a lot of clients want to pre-approve bloggers that are on campaigns, along with content as well. So instead of being able to do open bidding, what we have to do is we have to put together a blogger list. And we will send that blogger list over to clients, and we'll have them look over the list. From there, we reach out. That's where most of our direct offers are coming from. So to help with that, I would say, again, make sure your profile is completely up to date. Make sure that your Google Analytics are connected. I know that as of recent, and Jen can talk a little bit more about this, but we now have fully working Google Analytics with the ability to make sure that it's working per blog. The issue was stemming from the fact that when you connect to Google Analytics, it would just connect to the first one on your list. If you have 6 or 7 or 20 blogs like Paula and Becky, it didn't know how to pick the right one. So now we have that. So I would absolutely recommend going to check that. You know, we send bloggers to clients based off of a tier about their reach and what they're talking about. So to be put on a list, make sure that you have the best content, fully up to date, Google Analytics, and these lists are becoming much larger because our campaigns are becoming larger, and hopefully we can get more people offers. That is the goal for 2016.
So someone just asked, which kind of like goes with what you were saying, is they asked about for newer bloggers with smaller numbers, what are you looking for from them? Is it that they're writing consistently, or is it that they have good engagement? Which way would you go with that? Because I think both are important. If you're writing consistently, your page views are going to be higher. And if you have good engagement, your sponsors are going to love that. So it's almost like you need both.
I think both of those are absolutely correct. We would definitely want to have both of those. I would say 4 years ago, there was a big trend to have 100, 150 bloggers with lower reach. These days, clients are looking for a smaller amount of bloggers with very high reach. Sometimes doing multiple posts, almost like an ambassadorship or something quarterly. So they kind of almost want to have like a brand sponsor on a big name, and having their reach on on their blog and their social channels kind of get their word out. But again, lately with these bigger campaigns that we've had, we've been able to incorporate the people with a lower reach and get them on campaigns as well. I will say that we're going to, in the near future, we'll definitely have more campaigns for those people with the smaller reach.
So the thing that we do look for, though, is an increase in viewership over time. So if you're new, that's not bad. If you're new and your readership is growing over time, we'll see that, and that's good. Mm-hmm. But if you're a stagnant readership and say you've been around for a year and you have the same 200 people, that probably isn't the best fit for a campaign, because advertisers like Tide or Tidy Cat or Pepsi are looking for the biggest reach they can buy for their money. And reaching 200 people doesn't necessarily fit into what they want to do. Mm-hmm. So find
another thing we
kind of get to grow your readership.
Yeah. So another thing we kind of get asked is there's typically a campaign period. It's like 30 days. And Becky and I are always kind of telling the people in our group to make your sponsored content evergreen. It should be something that you could share proudly every day, and no one's going to get mad at you saying it's a commercial, because it's just that good of content. But a lot of people have asked, like sometimes you'll write that post for a sponsor and it's just so good and you do share it a lot, but then, you weren't allowed to have ads in it, or you don't have any other, even just affiliate links to the product because it was a sponsored post. From y'all's perspective, after the 30 days are over, or 90 days, can we edit those posts? Can we put the ads back in so that we're making money off of them residually going forward? Can we put affiliate links, even if it's affiliate links to the product? If I did a sponsored post for Pepsi, obviously I wouldn't put like a Coke ad in there, but I may put a link to Amazon to Pepsi on Amazon or something like that. Is that frowned upon, or is that a good thing because it encourages the bloggers to keep sharing the content?
That is a good question. I would say that we would want your content to be exclusive to the client for the 30 days. I'm sure you two have combed through our terms of service, and really what we're expecting is that content to be up in the way that we approved it in the system for 30 days. Mm-hmm. After that, feel free to add affiliate links, because if they're going to look at that product on your webpage and they're going to buy it, in the end, they're helping the client. Hopefully they see maybe a bigger ROI on that, and then they'll come back and buy another blog campaign from us.
Right.
I will say, while we're on the topic, that over picture ads in sponsored content are the absolute bane of our existence. And if you guys can figure out a way to turn those off for our sponsored posts, you would change
so
lives.
If you're with AdThrive, you just have to put in the tags of your blog post, no ads, one word, NOADS, no ads, and all of the in post ads will go away. Like, you'll still have your header there, and you'll still have the sidebar ad. But in the photo, the ones that pop up on the photos will be gone forever. So always do that, especially for IZEA. It's just no ads, and it's a super simple tag. I'm not sure if it works with like Google AdSense or the Blogger Network or some of the other ones, but
I think it works with the Blogger Network. Does it have to do it on Mickey's page? I think so. I've done it on Mickey's page.
Follow up with a small story on that. We were doing a campaign for, I think it was Simply Potatoes. And, you know, a lot of times that these clients will see the post go live even before we have it in reporting because they have Google alerts or whatnot. Unfortunately, this particular post on this blogger's page had a great amount of really awesome pictures from this really cool breakfast casserole she made. But it was full of Orida over picture ads, and it was awful. We got a very angry email from Brand Direct just asking what they're actually paying for. And, you know, if there's a way to make sure those things get turned off right off the bat, that would make everyone happy.
Yeah. I know it's something I forget a lot of the time because I don't even use tags, but just try to keep that in mind or write little notes. Like, I'll try to write notes in my notebook when I say I need to write this post, no ads. Just whatever you can do to remember, because it is fairly simple to do. But and another question, I know that a lot of the links that we put in the posts are tracking links. So if we do switch those to affiliate links, will that affect your tracking? Obviously, the 30 days is over. Are you tracking after the 30 days or not?
Yes,
you are. So we might leave those IZEA links and add additional affiliate links so that you can see how great our post is.
I would to make sure that, because one of the things that we like to tout to our clients is that we can come back to a campaign that finished 6 months ago and go back to it again, and there will be a guaranteed increase in overall views and clicks over the course of time. So it's something that we call it's evergreen.
So what we've done for the industry is created basically a study that says the average life of a blog post is about 2 years. So a brand engaging in a blog post will have that evergreen content and it'll still get residual value for 2 years as a way to pitch this kind of advertising to brands to make it less scary or less new to them. Right. So the longer you can keep it up, even if you put the affiliate links or put ads back on it, as long as it's up, it is giving value to that advertiser.
So it really might be worth it for us bloggers, like something Becky and I talk about a lot is going back and revamping old posts and adding in new images and just doing everything we can to make them better. So don't exclude your sponsored content from that. If you're going back and you're improving old posts, look at your sponsored posts and go, hey, I could redo that recipe and I could throw a better image in there because they're still tracking, apparently. Now we know that, and that's really good to know. Because
and so when say a Roll Gold comes back and they go, we really enjoyed that last blog campaign, and so we want to do one again, Dave will say, Becky did a great job, or Paula did a great job. Let's reach out to them.
And I do find that. I think that when you do a really great job and you're constantly promoting your sponsored posts in a way that is like you normally would, that then those brands will remember you. I have companies that come back all the time that will ask me to do things monthly or to do them quarterly because the first one did well and then the second one did well. And like David was saying about like an ambassadorship, I love doing them. I think that they're a great way to go because then your readers get to know, well, this is a product that she uses. This is a product. And then you link to it more. So as a blogger, when if I wrote about Bounty, then anytime that I talk about cleaning, I'm going to include Bounty because I have a loyalty to them. I feel like even though they're not paying for that other post, I feel loyal to them. And so I want my readers to know that I trust them and I use them. So if I'm paid to do a sponsored post, I end up including their information in all of my posts just because I felt like they trusted me and I trust them, and it's a relationship that we've built.
One of the neat things I've noticed over the years is that sometimes we send a product via product sampling to bloggers that they're a little iffy about in the beginning for whatever reason, but by the end of the campaign, they'll write an email back to us just saying like, hey, I can't live without this thing anymore, and I'm going to use this forever. And they didn't even know to try that product out if it wasn't for us sending them the samples. So those emails totally get screenshotted and put on the recap call. So don't worry.
Okay.
The client is knowing that they're having this extra sentiment coming from the blogger themselves, not just their audience.
That's awesome.
Can we talk about your dashboard a little bit? Because some people are asking questions about that. So our friend Jody had asked if you had considered having an autosave, which might be...
Are we? So when we're talking about autosave, we're talking about for the
we
content
would write in your dash. Yeah, but let me say before you jump in is what I've been doing to all the people listening is I'm writing it up in my own dashboard. I go to text, I copy my text, and then I can like move it over. Just click the source button on the IZEA dash and move it over there. And I just save it in mine. And then whenever it's ready to be populated, I will generate their embed code, and I'll just go through and do it on my page. But that way, because I have burnt myself by writing it in there and it not being saved. So that's a lesson that I've had to learn the hard way.
Let me go on a little rant about autosave. So I completely agree with you and the ability to save things automatically. I've been doing this for a long time, and the worst email I can get is say that someone put hours into the editor creating a piece of content, and something accidentally hits Command R or someone hits back, something goes away and it doesn't save. I hate that. At that point in time, I usually try to go to engineering to see if there's anything that was saved, to see if we can get that back. Most of the time, it's a no. I have already wrote a big, in all capital letters, talk to Chris about autosave after this. And now we have a recorded version of it to show that this is something that we really do want. I don't think it should be too difficult to put in, but you got to realize that we have hundreds of thousands of different asks and things that we want to put into the system. But I've been saying it for years. Just if it makes anyone feel any better, in the very beginning of just the new platform, there wasn't even a save button. So at least we have that in there. So until we get that feature completely in there, be sure to hit save once in a while. And hopefully we can have that in sooner than later. I know that our editor feature has been better over time, and we're only going to continue to make it better as time goes on.
That's good to know.
Okay, someone was asking about, and I've noticed this on my page, that when you do write it up in IZEA and then you post it back on yours, it's formatted a little bit differently, so it uses the text and things that. Is there any way around that? Like with mine, now this will take people forever. I don't like that the text is different, so I actually go into my post, I click on text, and I take out every time that it says like sans, whatever it is that the different text you guys use. I take that out. Okay, yeah, I like take it out so that it just looks so much like the same as my other posts. Because what happens is like some of mine will come across regular and some won't. But I will say I don't think readers notice or care. So I wouldn't worry about it. It was a question about reformatting, but I wouldn't even really worry about it too much. I just would paste it, and make sure that you have like everything else done well, and make sure that it's the same as it was on there. So don't like add extra
Becky, you're having some sort of sound issue.
Oh no! Can you hear me now? Can you hear me, Paula?
You're okay now.
Sorry.
We're sounding like a robot for a minute.
Can you repeat that last bit?
I don't even remember because I just go on and on and on.
She was just saying how we erase the formatting. Just like kind of a quirk sometimes is that we have to erase the formatting and then redo it in our sites because of the font issues is what.
No, I definitely want your blog post to look authentic to your blog. It would look very strange for this one sponsored post to have formatting off compared to what your font is. At this time, I'm not really sure what the issue could be. I know that a lot of our bloggers don't even take what we tell you is to grab the approved HTML, put this exactly in your blog post. I know most of the people I work with and talk to, and probably the two in this room, don't do that. They grab the links and they put it in their blog post the way that they want it to look. I think this might be something that has to wait after we get a few more features out. We're very close to being what we think is very, very good with the system. And after that, I think after that time, we're going to go back and try to adjust those, fix those things. I really understand the formatting issues. I just don't know an answer to that. And that's Jen, you have an answer for that one.
No, and just to be super transparent, we have about a 24-month roadmap for development.
Sure. So I was amazed by your by that whole tech department that you had. I mean, amazed.
So I am right by engineering. Do you guys want to see engineering?
Oh, yes, show them. I mean, I was shocked. I would have thought one person's working this. It's like a whole room of people working.
No, it's a giant room of people. So we'll just do this real quick.
Field trip. I love it.
Okay, so
there we go.
That is all of engineering.
So cool.
Yeah, that's
and they are currently working on brand new features.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Cool.
So that's really what the office looks like everywhere.
Yeah, and let me say that I like IZEA a lot because everybody is easy to work with, and I feel like you don't come across that very much. I feel like it's a really personal connection with the people at IZEA, and that you guys are easy to work with. And if we email you, you're getting back to us and things like that. I just feel like that's something that you guys have done really well.
Good. And y'all get bloggers. Yes. You let us do our thing instead of saying, "Here's a box. Please fit your blog into this box." We're like, "No."
Yeah, I think what I've been trying to do over the years, and I like to say that I'm the ultimate middleman here at IZEA, where I understand what the clients are looking for, but I'm also very in tune with the blogger network that we have, and I try to make sure that we are sticking to the middle ground, because I feel sometimes, and I think both of you know from different campaigns, when you get some of these change requests back, they're like, there is no way David and team is asking this. This is coming from a very old man that lives in a box that has never seen the internet. And it takes a little time to push the evolution forward when it comes to what
and
we're
we
doing
have to understand that too, because that is you guys are dealing with it, but we have to understand that some people just don't understand it. My grandfather 2 days ago called my dad, and he knows that I run a website, and he said he has clothes that he's done using. Could I sell them on my blog? So some people just don't get it quite too much. So I think we have to understand that when a company comes back to you and there are changes that they need to be made, as much as you guys are telling them that we've got it under control, they still want to see those things, and we have to just do it. I mean, if we want to get paid, that's just how it works sometimes.
I'm trying.
And we are fighting the battle on our side.
Absolutely. You have to realize that when we get these requests, we've probably already tried to bring them down from 10 to 3 or 4, and know that some of the things that they told us to tell you, we're just absolutely not. I am not going to send this to Becky. I am not sending this to Paula. They will think I'm crazy. And it's just, my thing is that you can change facts. You can change facts. If they want to, if there's a couple bloggers that we have in our network where every single sentence ends in an exclamation mark, and that's just the way they talk. That's how they want to be a blogger. They want to just be yay, and that's fine. So when I get a Word doc back where some man went and took every single exclamation mark and then put a period, I'm like, that's changing their voice. It's not you. You picked this person. You pre-approved this person's writing before we even gave them an offer. You got to accept them for who they are.
So we really try to limit them to things like factual statements, and then the requirements, like if there's do not use brands or words, making sure that those aren't in there, and spelling the name of the advertiser incorrectly. Those are really the things that we send back. I've totally
done that.
Oh. Can I give you another pat on the back for something that I don't know any other company that does this? Is that sometimes you guys will go in and make little edits for us. That is my favorite thing. Mickey will be well, I had something wrong on IZEA, but they changed it for me. It saves the blogger such a because that 1 second change will take me 20 minutes to I have to stop what I'm doing and log in. And so when you guys go in and change a simple thing on the back end, I just feel like it saves us so much time. And no other company does that. But I love it.
I would like to think that every one of you agree with that, but that's not true. A lot of people are. So I love that because you got to think. Okay, we're just missing a word, or it's a misspelling, or it's a period, or a lack thereof. If that's something my team can go in and get that submitted, approve it. So the next time you get done with, taking the kids to school or whatever, it's ready in your account to just go live. Instead of us waiting that extra 10, 12 hours for you to put the period, then it comes back. We went home. So the next morning we come back and approve it. We can move past that and kind of speed the process up. We try to do it if we can. We also tried to not do it if it's anything more than we're comfortable with. If we
it's
think
usually
that
just a little thing like that.
The last thing I want to do is change your voice. If there is some serious edits, what we'll usually do is email you and say, hey, we made these changes and saved a draft. Can you please check to make sure you're okay with these? Because sometimes, again, brands are picky, clients are picky, trying to make everybody happy meeting in the middle.
Yeah, especially those medical ones. Those are always hard when you have all these parameters that legally you can't say it's healthier. You have to say it support whatever.
Exactly.
Those are so hard to write.
Health brands, things that have to do with, if it's an energy drink that not FDA approved, something like that. But really, I think the hardest we get hit with are things like credit cards, credit card companies, insurance providers. Those are the legal. I feel like I'm in some sort of battlefield when we send a post to these people.
They probably have more lawyers on staff per capita than any other industry.
Crazy.
So
we just had another question.
One more thing about that. With the way that with legal stuff like that, what happens is that you submit the post, we review the post, we make sure that it's right for what we think is okay. From there, we're going to take that, we're going to send it to the client. The client's going to say what they think about it. From there, they're going to send it to their legal team, and they're probably sending it to 3 more legal teams. That's when it comes back to us. That's sometimes why it takes a week to get a post back, because this legal team is involved. And I know we get plenty of emails hey, I submitted my post 6 years ago. Why don't I have it back? That's because it's
stuck in legal.
So it's one of those things that we don't like to deal with. But if we want to work with those clients, it's a process we have to do.
Yeah.
Good. Someone asked in our chat that if they do, I'm sorry, it's echoing on my end. Is it on yours?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not for me.
Okay. If they do a post,
having all sorts of problems.
I know. If they do a post one time and then they add that same product information into a post later, do you want to hear about that or no? It says, if I do additional posts with the product sent beyond the one that I've submitted, do you want us to email you with new links?
That would be nice. It's not necessary by any means. We're saying that you're working on the post for that particular product for that day, and that's what you're getting paid for. Anything beyond that is not sponsored anymore, and that's just you using the product. If you'd like to send it, that could help us sell another campaign. Mm-hmm. It could help us maybe push you towards an ambassadorship. One thing I wanted to touch on earlier that we didn't talk about was that sometimes we do this campaign with hundreds of bloggers, but a company will come back or a client will come back saying, I really just like these 5 people. Can we use these 5 people for a 5-post series or something like that? So we could sell a campaign just based on, I won't buy it unless these 5 people will be on it. Does that make sense?
Wow.
Yeah.
Totally. So that is a smart thing to do.
Absolutely.
On kind of a less happy note, what are things that bloggers can do to sort of get blacklisted? You're probably not going to email them back.
Okay, so
rip us to shreds. Tell us what not to do.
We'll start out with the most obvious things. So if you take an opportunity that requires you to have a toddler because it's an infant formula and it requires you to have a picture of the baby, for you to take that opportunity and not have a baby and then submit a photoshopped baby as your baby, blacklisted.
Babygate 2015. It was a thing, everyone. It's on the internet.
It really was a thing. Somebody claimed to have a baby they didn't have. So don't don't speak outside of your, your area of expertise. If you're not a mom and you don't have an infant, don't take an infant formula opportunity. You're not the target audience for that.
My biggest thing is, I think, just not keeping your word. I realize that we do not have contracts for everything. And even if we do have contracts, I mean, what are we going to do? We have to trust you. If we can't trust you, we are going to blacklist you.
So to put some context around that, if your post is due on a Monday, it needs to be in on like Friday or Monday morning, not Monday night, not Tuesday morning. Deadlines are very important because all of this content is based on a flight that we've prearranged with the client. It needs to go out when we ask it to go out, and late content is the worst. Then that leaves David and team scrambling to find a replacement because you can no longer be counted on. You've already missed the deadline. So if you're going to miss a deadline because something has happened, reach out to customer love, support at IZEA.com. And we'll mitigate that for you guys. The earlier we know that content isn't coming in on time, the easier it is for us to manage that.
Well, it goes away, right? Like
What's
online, that? Like if I wouldn't get it in on time, it would just be gone, wouldn't it? Like you'd have to email and say, hey, I think I missed that opportunity or whatever. Like, doesn't it just go away once you've...
Well, that's the thing. I think sometimes if we don't do any email communication, if the offer expires, the creator will look at it and be like, oh well, I missed it. When in reality, we were probably counting on that.
Planning on it, yeah.
And, I feel like we're very tied to having to email. I'm hoping soon we can have some sort of in-system messaging system, something like that.
Yeah, like an auto reminder.
Exactly.
For those of us that would forget. No, I think I'm really good about that.
And the other thing is that I realize right now we're trying to develop a way to have, if your end date is this day, sometimes we reopen that offer. Say we gave you 2 weeks, you missed those 2 weeks. When I reopen it and get you back to working on it, you don't have 2 more weeks. That just because in the system
that's a system standard.
Yes,
that's the timing of it, regardless of when it gets open. But if we reopen it for you, it doesn't mean that you get the extra time, and that will probably be conveyed in the email back and forth. Like it needs to be on like Friday.
Yeah. So do you want
do it by
ahead of
Friday?
Time? Like someone's asking about if you say Friday, do you actually want it Wednesday or do you want it Friday? Like do you want us to have it so that you can pre-approve and we can post it
as soon as you as soon as you can deliver it. Now that doesn't mean deliver it not done or incomplete. As soon as it is ready to go, don't hold it. Send it in.
Okay, that's good to know.
So that's good to know.
Right. Does anybody in our chat have
deadlines? So
I know, like I actually put it on my WordPress edit. Like when I get an offer, I'll go into my WordPress editorial calendar and pick the day before and just write complete offer, and then I send it in. But knowing things like that, I'll just schedule it like 2 days before, because it's not like it takes me like 3 weeks to think it up. It's just that's the day I had it planned for, and that's the day I go in.
Right.
But knowing that you'd like it earlier is just as easy.
Well, and the other thing is if the content is really fantastic, it might be that we push it live or ask you to push it live a little bit before the date to sort of start seeding the opportunity and get it out there. Yeah. And so then you're like the leading piece of material, which is fantastic.
And one other thing I've started noticing is that say you do get like a week window, and where maybe I used to wait till the end, if I get it out sooner, my numbers look so much higher by the end of the campaign than somebody else who's waited a week. So I will have that whole week to promote. So now I have like 4 weeks where mine's promoting, where like say Mickey did his like on a Friday or something, and I did mine on like Monday. Now his has like 3 weeks of, so my shares are higher, my numbers are higher, things like that.
Let me put a scenario out there for you. So we have a campaign that's a month long, and we need 50 bloggers. In a perfect world, I would have everyone's content in on the beginning of that, at the end of that 3rd week or the very beginning of that 4th week of the campaign. Mm-hmm. That way, we know that everything's good to go. We can approve everything. We can change requests. It gives us a few days to make sure that everything is lined up.
Right.
The other reason why you get blacklisted is if you go ghost. we'll have someone that was all gung-ho about a campaign at the beginning of the month. Come 3 weeks later, we haven't heard from her. There's probably 3 or 4 follow-up emails. At that point in time, we have to consider backups and other solutions. We'll still let that person submit, but we usually are going to assume that they're not going to. And that is another way to not have our trust and not want you on a campaign again.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think the worst thing you can do is to not get back to people. Now, if sometimes I feel like I miss emails. I mean, I know I miss emails. I get 200, 300 a day. So like Paula and I just had a conversation yesterday about emails. But that's why, if I get an offer, or even if it's like a maybe, I'll go in and like mark it as like a star and unread and so that I know I'm not going to miss this. Or I can follow up and, hey, I had an email come back. And I'll do that too. If I haven't heard from a company in a couple of weeks, I'll email and say, any update on the post about like whatever it was about, just to make sure like we have to hold ourselves accountable too, so that we're not just relying on that. Because I mean,
Correct.
Emails can be missed all the time. So we need to make sure that we're on the ball too.
Correct.
Do you guys in the chat have any more questions for them? I think they're pretty open to answering anything. So if you guys have anything.
Yeah, this has been fun. It's been nice to kind of exercise my blogging demons out.
Oh, that's funny.
So
I really just wanted to say Babygate 2015 on the internet one.
Yeah,
my friend Rachel said, I knew about that.
Hopefully that person's not watching though.
Turning things in early will really impress you. I think a lot of the bloggers are just really trying to get on, we talked about the blacklist, get on like the good list. And so what are other things that can really, obviously like there's a standard of minimum, but what are the things that's like makes you go, wow, this person went above and beyond and I'm obsessed with them and I'm going to pick them for every campaign I possibly can. How do you get on that list?
Pictures.
So the things that we really look for are ease of working with somebody. So if they're easy, they're responsive, they're open to, edits that need to be made. If their pictures are high quality, if their content is good, everything is spelled correctly, if they've met all the requirements. If you're like a one and done, like, oh, I get this from Paula, there's no spelling mistakes, her imagery is beautiful, it's very well thought out, very well written, perfect, done. That's what makes our lives so much easier. Right. It's the people that are, like David said, go ghost or are very slow to respond, have a bunch of spelling mistakes, their imagery isn't quite up to snuff, or they are just painful to work with, then they become the people you don't necessarily want to use.
Can I ask one more question that's been on my mind? So I am a queen of buying stock photos. I love them. They look a million times better than my own photos. A million times better than my own. But like I've used my own. I use my own at least I try to use like one per post. What are your takes on that? Because a lot of times for my featured image, I like to use a stock image because they draw so many more visitors to my page. And then when I'll use my own within the post because that's how I keep my readers there. But to get them to me, I want that like professional photography. So what are your thoughts on stock photos versus regular photos?
I guess it depends on if we can tell. It really just depends. If we notice that it's something that we don't think the brand or the client would be interested in, we would let you know in a change request. But if it seems to fit the bill, I don't think we have a problem with that. I believe that there are millions and trillions more excellent stock photos than there were on the internet 5 years ago. I just don't want to see something that I've probably already seen before.
Yeah.
And there's even all these services where people are just taking iPhone pictures and submitting them as stock photos and making money that way. So I think it's just being cautious and making sure that I think the number one takeaway from this is that when we pick people, we want to say, okay, would brand X want this person to represent them? And furthermore, would brand X want this picture to represent them?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it has I mean, I feel like the picture is what takes me, like writing takes me half the time, but the pictures take me half the time because that picture has to be excellent for somebody to come to your page and invest their time in reading it. Someone just asked our friend Jody that she did a roundup as a campaign one time. Is that acceptable, or would you rather not?
By roundup, you mean these are 5 things that you must have for summer or something like that.
Jody, what do you mean? But I'm assuming she means like, say it was about a dishwasher, like 10 dishwasher hacks, but all linking out to like, so like, I love washing, this is one I've done, that's what I'm saying. I love like washing potatoes in the dishwasher and maybe like a link to the site that I originally got that idea of, or like washing shoes in the dishwasher is da-da, and like a link to where I got that post. Like essentially you're keeping them on your site, but if they want to click to other things that they can do. Jody, I'm messaging you. Is that what you need? She said, I did one for Chuck E. Cheese, and it was about dressing up in a costume. I linked to a variety of book character costumes.
So to answer your question, I want to back it up a little bit. When we send, when we get a client onto a campaign, we send them what we call a creator brief or a campaign brief. There's a section on there that says, how creative would you like these bloggers or tweeters or Instagrammers to be? We'll kind of gauge it from there. There are particular sets of clients that want the entire post to be about their product, and they don't want any diverge anywhere from that. Yeah. But there's also clients that realize that what they are offering is a small part of something larger, and it makes more sense to put it into a post like that. If it's a really big no, we will put it in the instructions. Okay. But to answer the question, it is okay. It just really depends. And if you are hesitant before you want to write the post, reach out to us, and we will. We can ask the client. We can kind of gauge it from there, because it really becomes it depends on the brand. It depends on the client. It depends on who we're working with.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I would assume that the obvious no way to that side would be if you're mentioning other competitors as options for this. If we're talking about
Absolutely.
Hydration and it's for smart water, we're not going to be mentioning some other brands of beverage that you could be drinking.
Right. So if it's complementary, that's easier to sell if it's complementary. If it's a competitor, then we'll probably just outright say, no, don't do that, because the competitor is going to want to pay for a post for someone else.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yep.
All right, good. Well, I think that we've covered a ton, and you guys have been really helpful. Is there anything, like any last minute things?
Download the app.
Download the app.
Yes.
Download the app.
Yes.
When is the Android one coming?
Sorry?
When is the Android app coming? I know several people have been asking us that since we've been talking about the iPhone app is here, and a few people in the group
So that'll go into development starting in Q3. So awesome. It'll probably be mid 2017.
Okay, good. It'll be.
And
good
if you guys aren't, for our the watchers, if you're not familiar with the app, there is a post that Paula did on the beckyandpaula.com site that talks about their app. So. That's where it is, right? It's on the site. I think it's like right when you click on blog.
It's on Beauty Through Imperfection.
It's on your Beauty Through Imperfection. Okay. All right, good.
Well, and I'm in the process of creating a webinar about that. So that'll be probably February's webinar.
Good.
Okay, cool. Send us the link to that. Send us the link to that, and we'll be sure to share it in the group so that everybody can head over to watch it.
Yeah, to watch it.
Yep.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
I think the app's going to be a really good way to kind of do some more of that short form content. I believe that just to be candid with everyone, I believe that we have the same 1,000 tweeters applied to pretty much everything. I'd really like to see that the app increases the amount of people bidding on things. That way we can have more variety in our reports that we're sending back to clients. And it's a lot easier, because if you get accepted for a tweet before the app, you got to wait till you get home, get on your computer, log into IZEA, do that. Now you can just pop it open. We'll even send you a push notification when your bid gets approved, and then you can write the 140 characters at your fingertips in the middle of whatever you're doing. And it's I really hope that it helps. It really bolster those short form content things that we have. And I'm also hoping
Instagram. And then Instagram is where you're really going to feel it.
Because Instagram, as it is on the web app, is a pain in the butt.
It's painful. But
like
on the app, so much better.
Yes.
So much better on the app.
That would be good. And another thing before we go, because somebody had been asking about you can pay IZEA like $1 or $5 a month. And people keep asking us, and I never know what to tell them, what the difference between those things are. And what's the advantage of paying $1 versus $5, and how does that work? Do y'all know?
So you're talking about some of the opportunities that we have in there that are very, very low paying, and then
no. We're talking about plans. They're talking about plans.
No, I will let Jen cover the plans.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jen.
Money in there, like before I like get money out, I just keep like a few bucks in there because I'm like, whatever it's going towards, I'm in. So just keep it in there.
So the plan is really helpful in terms of giving you a little more functionality. So you can cash out at a lower threshold. You can cash out much sooner. You have a banner that shows that you're like it'll say pro on there. So advertisers look at that and say, okay, this is somebody who is making this their business and not, somebody who just is goofing off. So I will never have a pro banner on mine because I just goof off. On my social sites. But as the platform grows and as features roll out, they're going to be rolling out more for the people who are on a paid plan. Mm-hmm. And the free is mainly for people to test out the system, to see if they like it, to see if it's worth their time. And then you can move from plan from there. So it is more of, right now the feature sets rolling out are more geared to advertisers, but we have some creator features that are going to be rolling out, which will be super helpful. One of those things in the whole tools section, which is social shares and, I can't remember the name of the other one. Basically, social shares allows you to do hashtag research. So you can see which hashtags work, good. But also if you're using a hashtag, you can put that in there and see how it's trending.
So helpful.
And the other one is the other one is Share Monitor, and Share Monitor allows you to put a URL in there and track to see where it's shared. So when you do a post, if you use Share Monitor, type your URL in there and see where it's getting picked up, Pinterest or Reddit or any of the other Google Plus, any of the other sites. Where is your post going?
Perfect.
And depending on the plan you have, like if you're on a free plan, you get one hashtag or one URL. If you're on a paid plan, those go up so you can track more. So if you're doing a post a day, then you can track your posts more effectively doing that than with one a day.
Awesome. Okay. That's really good to know. Good.
So that's the value. And you can see when you log in, if you go to your account, there's a plans tab, and you can see the difference between the plans. And if you have any questions, again, reach out to Customer Left.
Can I ask one more question that my friend and I were just talking about the other day, and I think Paula too. Because we were trying to figure out how to change it. When it asks you what your suggested rate is, do you go off of that, or do you go off of what you think?
Okay. So I'll start and then David can jump in. My personal opinion is that you don't put any asking price in there that locks you down. Leave it open, and therefore your bid is market value at that point. If you say, I'm only going to do things for $150, but the advertiser can't support that, then you've effectively eliminated yourself from participating in that. It might have been something that you would have loved to do for,
because they might be sending like a product that's worth double that amount. You know what I mean? Like sometimes my offers are lower, but I'm getting like a $400 or $500 product, and I'm like, well, I would have done this because I'm so excited about the product.
Exactly. So while a asking price has some value, I never recommend anybody using it because then you eliminate yourself from participating. Now that being said, you're also
you just won't see them in the marketplace if you put that asking price too high. Okay. And I think the one thing about IZEA is that I feel that out there in the blogging world, it may seem that we pay a little bit less, but we should be able to deliver more sponsorship opportunities over the course of a year. And I think that's where we make up the ground.
Take less to work with a company that's easier. There's a company that I will not mention that I don't work with because they are so hard to work with, so hard. So I just don't even apply to any. I don't accept any. So sometimes I feel like you pay for convenience or like ease.
Yep, agreed.
Okay, well, good to know about don't put a price in there. That'll help a lot of people. That's good to know.
Well, thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate working with you guys all the time. I think Becky and I have both been around since it was Social Spark, and then IZEA, and we just love working with you guys. That you go to bat for us and fight the brands and tell them to let us be us, which really it helps and it makes our job so much easier. So we really, really love you guys, and we're glad you joined us today.
And don't forget IZEA Fest 2017, February 9th, I think, something along those lines. We'll have more
something along those lines.
But more information that way.
Yeah, but it's Orlando in February, so yeah.
Everyone wants to be there.
Oh, good.
I'm in. It was so fun last year.
Good.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies.
All right. Thanks for chatting. All right. Bye.
All right, thanks for having us. Bye.
Bye.